Hello everyone, hello. This year is dedicated Li'ilui Nishmas Rachel Leah Bas Reb Chaim Tzvi. Bez Hashem, we're going to be learning the laws of Lashon Hara from the Sefer Chofetz Chaim. It's a wonderful Sefer to learn. And we'll be learning the Sefer inside, going through the introduction, all the ideas in the Sefer Chofetz Chaim. We'll be learning many of the footnotes of the Chofetz Chaim. When you learn the laws of Lashon Hara, you have to understand that it goes way beyond the technical mitzvos and aveiros of Lashon Hara. And the Chofetz Chaim points out there are a lot of aveiros, but it's way beyond that. It's way beyond the mitzvos and aveiros. When you work on Lashon Hara, it basically affects many areas of your life, way beyond. The Chofetz Chaim talks about this, and we'll be emphasizing this Bez Hashem during the classes. So as part of an introduction to see how working on Lashon Hara affects your broader life in general, I want to start with a poem that Rabbi Abraham J. Twersky has in his writings. Rabbi Twersky's written many svarim. This is taken from his book From Pulpit to Couch. It's in the source sheet number 1, and it's towards the end of the book. He's discussing happiness. He's discussing focusing on the positive in life, the better things in life, not always focusing on the negative. And he says as follows. It's here in source number 1 on page 1. There's an arrow there where it begins. There are so many things we can appreciate. Every day there is a sunset. Some of the sunsets are breathtakingly beautiful and often are visible from our own porches. The sound of the birds singing, the smell of freshly cut grass, the trees in spring blossom, the might and power of a thunderstorm, the smile on an infant's face, relaxing to the sound of music. All these and many more things at our fingertips can be sources of happiness. A blind man was standing on a street corner with a cup which had only a few coins in it. A passerby wrote a little note and affixed it to the cup. It read, "Today is a beautiful spring day and I am blind." Soon passers-by filled his cup. I came across a poem from an unknown author that I would like to share with you. The park bench was deserted as I sat down to read. Beneath the long straggly branches of an old willow tree, disillusioned by life with good reason to frown, for the world was intent on dragging me down. And if that weren't enough to ruin my day, a young boy out of breath approached me, all tired from play. He stood right before me with his head tilted down and said with great excitement, "Look at what I have found." In his hand was a flower, and what a pitiful sight, with its petals all worn, not enough rain or too little light. Wanting him to take his dead flower and go off to play, I faked a small smile and then shifted away. But instead of retreating, he sat next to my side and placed the flower to his nose and declared with overacted surprise, "It sure smells pretty and it's beautiful too. That's why I picked it. Here, it's for you." The weed before me was dying or dead, not vibrant of colors orange, yellow, or red. But I knew I must take it or he might never leave, so I reached for the flower and replied, "Just what I need." But instead of him placing the flower in my hand, he held it mid-air without reason or plan. It was then that I noticed, for the very first time, that weed-toting boy could not see. He was blind. I heard my voice quiver, tears shone like the sun, as I thanked him for picking the very best one. "You're welcome," he smiled, and then ran off to play, unaware of the impact he had had on my day. I sat there and wondered how he managed to see a self-pitying woman beneath an old willow tree. How did he know of my self-indulged plight? Perhaps from his heart he'd been blessed with true sight. Through the eyes of a blind child at last I could see, and for all those times I myself had been blind. The problem was not with the world, the problem was me. I vowed to see the beauty in life and appreciate every second that is mine. And then I held that wilted flower up to my nose and breathed in the fragrance of a beautiful rose, and smiled as I watched that young boy, another weed in his hand, about to change the life of an unsuspecting old man. Rabbi Twersky concludes, we need only to remind of our blessings to find happiness within our reach in everyday experiences, if we are not blind to them. A beautiful poem. Now, what does this have to do with Lashon Hara? So I think, and we're going to see, that a poem like this, and appreciating life and having a positive attitude towards life and appreciating the good things, has everything to do with Lashon Hara. And let's explain. Rabbi Noach Orlik, in his writings, often talks about the idea of Simchas HaChaim. Simchas HaChaim is very, very important. A person with Simchas HaChaim makes a better friend, he makes a better spouse, certainly makes a better parent, positive attitude towards life. People with Simchas HaChaim are more productive. Studies show they tend to be healthier. Simchas HaChaim is very important. So Orlik likes to quote from the Sfas Emes that the Hebrew word besimcha, beis, sin, mem, ches, hey, is the same letters as machshava, mem, chet, shin, beis, hey. Besimcha are the same letters as machshava. And very, very often, whether